Let's move over to Friday. You have two bets that you want to hit on here. Can't wait to get your handicap. Let's start off with the earlier one on Friday, looking at Vanderbilt against St. Mary's. 7 seed St. Mary's, both of these games in the East region. St. Mary's a 4.5-point favorite, total of 135.5. The Gales lost in the West Coast Conference championship game to Gonzaga, while Vanderbilt lost to the aforementioned Texas Longhorns in the first round of the SEC tournament. So what's your lean? Have you locked in a bet, or how are you looking to approach this game?
Yeah, so nothing locked in yet because I don't like to place anything until I'm completely gone through, crossed my I's, dot my T's, all those things. I mean, it's the other way around, but you know what I mean. Um, so these are things that, immediately jump off the page to me stylistically and matchup wise. And for me, St. Mary's and this is the exact same thing that happened last year. They had a really weak non-conference schedule. They came into WCC play at 9-6 and 49th in KenPom. Then they go on a 15-0 streak in the WCC. They end up losing to Gonzaga and winning the WCC tournament, entering March Madness at number 18 in KenPom. That's a 31-point jump through WCC play. What happens? They lose as a favorite to Grand Canyon. This year, they enter KenPom 45th. That's almost the exact same as last year, and they finished at 22nd. Also, almost the exact same thing. They went 17-1 in conference play. They had one 1-point loss in the regular season, lost a tight win to Gonzaga. And now, once again, they're the seed favorite and betting favorite against a pretty strong opponent. And I just feel like this is the exact same story. There's not a high ceiling with this St. Mary's squad. We know what they are and what they aren't. They don't turn the ball over, and they're unbelievable on the glass between Mitchell Saxon, Harry Wessels, and some of the forwards, Morauskas in particular. They will dominate the glass. They're the best team in the country at back taps. They're going to get second chances, but Vanderbilt just made it through an SEC gauntlet. I was fading Vanderbilt so hard early in the SEC season because they're the smallest team in the league by far. And
Doesn't that worry you, though, for this
Pardon?
game? Doesn't that worry you, though, for this game?
It does, but SEC, they made it through the SEC at 8-10, and they fared much better against the spread later in the season. They proved that they can win games against physical offensive rebounding teams, and they can compete. It's not like, in fact, they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-2 when allowing a 36% offensive rebounding rate or higher. So teams grabbed offensive rebounds against them. It didn't change the fact that they can sort of withstand that offensive rebounding barrage with the way they play. More on that, they have two fantastic on-ball dribble creators in Jason Edwards and AJ Hoggard. A lot of people like to hate on AJ Hoggard, but he is really good in the pick and roll and against drop coverage, which is what St. Mary's basically exclusively plays. They're a rim denial drop coverage with Mitchell Saxon, and Jason Edwards is one of the very best dribble scorers in the entire country. And I think that people will look at that St. Mary's rebounding number. Oh, well, St. Mary's is 30th in height and Vanderbilt is 300th. Well, Vanderbilt just made it through nearly 500 in SEC play where teams are just as physical as St. Mary's. And they have the way higher ceiling because of their scoring pop. St. Mary's, outside of Mikey Lewis, who comes off their bench and is a freshman, can't play from behind and don't have a high ceiling. So when I think about that, I'm not going to let the rebounding dictate what I see throughout the rest of this matchup. Not to mention, I think St. Mary's is 15 to 20 spots too high in the market.
Yeah, all great points. I will say, too, to the point that we brought up in the Xavier Texas handicap, you don't want to look into a funnel, or you don't want to stare into a tunnel and funnel your results from conference tournament results. Because look at the WCC championship game where Gonzaga shoots 6.7% from behind the arc and they win the game. Now, St. Mary's didn't shoot it well either. They
didn't hit one.
Right, they didn't hit a single three in that game. My God.
1-0.
Right, exactly. It's wild. But Vanderbilt, conversely, also shot a very low percentage, under 16% against Texas, and a lot of those looks were open. So now St. Mary's does run you off the three-point line, and like you said, they protect the paint, they run that drop coverage. But Vanderbilt, I like your point. Maybe Tom Izzo doesn't necessarily want to agree because Michigan State is a hell of a lot better without AJ Hoggard on the roster, but he is really good against drop coverage. So I guess intuition-wise for me, it's hard to see Randy Bennett losing back-to-back first-round games. Like you said, they lost to Grand Canyon in the first round last year, but it is a 4.5-point spread.
Well, Mark Byington, Vanderbilt's coach, you already mentioned it. He out-schemed Wisconsin, and they won at James Madison last year. So he might also just be an awesome NCAA tournament coach.
Yeah, great point. One game sample size and in a one-and-done tournament, all those points are definitely worth touching on.